Welcome to Own Your Authenticity. This is your girl Ashley Renee. How are you guys doing today? Today is Monday, January 11th, and I'm pre-recording because I wanted to let you guys know that I am going on a juice cleanse, 3-day juice cleanse journey. Girl, I'm a little shook. So I've never done a juice cleanse before. Technically, like, I used to make my little shakes here and there, and girl, not eating like physically chewing something for 3 days. Do you know me? So I decided, I've been doing my research, and I've been since December, like, I want to do a juice cleanse, and every time I'm supposed to start, it's like, maybe not yet. No, like, this is not the time. This is the time. Like, it has to happen. So I went to the doctor on last week Thursday, and I was telling her, like, doc, I feel like sluggish. Like, I feel slow. Like, my insides feel slow. And TMI, but I'm usually, regular. And I'm like my whole schedule is off. And she said to me, she was like, you should try green juicing, like, do a cleanse. And I was like, you know how you would think about something, you keep thinking about it, but you don't put the action to it, and then something hits you in the forehead. Like, what more confirmation do you need? Is you gonna do it or is you not? So when she said it, I was like, okay, thank you for that. And she was like, what? And I was like, I've been thinking about it, and for weeks on weeks. And she was like, no, just do it, like, it's not that hard. So I decided to do 3 days. 1, because this is my first time. 2, because this is my first time. And 3, because, like, I want to ease myself into it. And at the same time, I think it'd be a good start. You know what I mean? Like, some people do 5 days. I was going to do 5 days initially, and then I was like, are you nuts? Like, you don't even know yourself yet. Like, you don't know your willpower yet to do 5 days. How about we start off slow? So I'm going to do the 3 days. I picked up my juices. That's why I'm all dressed up with the hat in the house, because you're probably like, why she got... Anyway. And so I just came off the road. I went to pick the juices up, and I snuck and tasted one. Girl. Pray for me, because see, I'm used to eating meat, and even though I haven't been eating heavy meats, if that makes sense, like, I'm Jamaican 100%. I've said this before, so I'm used to, like, the curry goat, the oxtail, like, things like that. Even though I haven't been eating consistently that kind of meat, I'm not eating physically for 3 days. That's a lot. That's okay. Like, I got home, because before I was like, oh my god, they need to call me, I want to pick up my juices, I want to do this, like, should I start Monday, should I wait, like, it's gonna be late. And I picked it up, and I'm just like, I'm not ready for this yet. I'm not ready for this. This is a lot. I'm doing the cleanse, not so much because I want to lose weight. Yes, I need to lose weight. My BMI technically is overweight compared to what I need to be. I'm 5'3". I need to be at optimal weight for 5'3", and I'm not. Let's just leave it at that. Like, I'm not about to disclose all my information. But I decided to do it not only for weight loss, so to speak, or, like, for a health kick, but really because I feel like I'm getting older. Things aren't processing and happening the way they used to, and my body needs to detox. My body needs to let go of, all that junk that I put in it, because COVID really did a number. Like, I started off the year great, and then COVID happened, and I wasn't eating out as much. Let me tell you, I wasn't spending money. I wasn't eating out. Like, I felt good about myself. I was like, all right, this is great. And then the patients, family members, and, you know, companies and all them other places kept sending food to the unit. How can you say no to free food? How can you say no to free food? And not all of them. It wasn't all unhealthy stuff. Like, it wasn't like we were just eating pizza every day. It wasn't like that. But how can you say no to free food? Needless to say, all the weight that I lost between like October, November-ish through like February of last year, it came right on back. So as you guys saw my 2020 vision board,
2021, wow,
vision board video, I spoke about health. Like, you can be the best looking thing out there and still not healthy. And so I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be a walking contradiction. It just doesn't make sense. So when I went to the doctor, thank God, like, my vitals were perfect. You should go to the doctor every year. You should get an annual, get a physical, get a checkup. I'm a strong believer in that. I rather know firsthand than to not know, and then all hell breaks loose. I'm that person. And also because I'm going on a tangent, but also because, and if you can relate to me, let me know in the comments down below. We have older family members who, you know, don't necessarily keep up with stuff, and then they get to like the 50s and the middle age and the 60s, and then they start going up and things start to happen. Your body slows down, and when you're not keeping up with that, you don't see the shifts that are happening. So your metabolism starts to slow down. You're eating all these sweets and all the sugar, and your body's not processing those things, and then boom, next thing you know, you're diabetic. And listen, I see these patients every day. You have diabetes, and before you know it, you're also eating the salt, so you have hypertension, and then before you know it, you're also eating fried chicken every day, so you have high cholesterol, and then the list goes on and on and on and on. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I gained the COVID-19, honey. Well, not 19, but you get the point. But, you know, yes, in moderation, some things are fine, but you have to know your limits. I know my limits. I can tell when I've been off completely. Like, my body, it shows. And I'm not talking about like physically, it shows. Like, I'm not sleeping properly, or I'm sleeping, but then when I wake up, I'm sluggish, even though I had 9 hours of sleep on the weekend. You know, like things like that. Your body will tell you when you need to stop, when you need to slow down, when you need to reassess. So as I said, it's not so much about losing weight per se, but it's about optimal health. My body needs to flush out all these toxins and all this crap that I've been putting in it for the past 27 years. And so I'm starting with a cleanse, but the goal is to keep going, is to switch up my eating habits. Every year I say the same thing, and some way, somehow I fall back. I told you in the vision board video, I love sweets. Sweets is my nemesis. Like, I love it, it don't love me. But, you know, at some point, you gotta take responsibility. Welcome to Own Your Authenticity. This is your girl, Ashley Renee. How are you guys today? Happy Friday. So we are going to do the full recap of my 3-day juice cleanse. So on Monday, as you see in the clip before, I did kind of like an introduction of why I chose to do a juice cleanse. And I did say that I was gonna do a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night recap. As you can see, that's not happening. So basically, I got home, I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. For those of you who don't know, I am a nurse by professional background. So I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and girl, all 3 days were ratchet. And when I got home, I drank my last juice. I was just like I need to go to sleep and prep for the next day. So henceforth, thus and such, why you're not getting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday minute recap. However, I'm gonna go through what those 3 days did for me. Let's start off by saying this. This is my first time doing a juice cleanse. It was different. to say the least. So on Tuesday, so it was my first day going back to work after one day off. But I had already like conditioned myself that, you know, like we're gonna start the cleanse, this is what's gonna be happening. And so with this specific cleanse, I got it from Freckles Juice in the Bronx in New York. And they have a 3-day juice cleanse, 6 juices a day, and you space them out every 2 to 3 hours. And there's no eating involved, so no salads, no none of that. The most you can do if you feel lightheaded, if you feel foggy, or you know, like just a little off, you feel like your sugar's low, you can snack on maybe a fruit or some nuts. They suggested mixed nuts. I stuck to cashews because I like cashews. And to be honest, like I was a little bit scared, because as I said before, she eats meat. And yeah, it was a lot. So let me tell you. So on Monday, I told you guys, I did a little of the first juice, and I was really concerned. I was like, bruh, like, is there a refund? How do you get back your money? Because I don't think I could do this. So on Tuesday morning, I went to work. I start work at 7 a.m. And I end at 7:30. So I had 12 hours to finish really 5 juices. So they suggest that you drink the last juice at least 2 hours before going to bed so that you can digest, which is the rule for really anything. Anytime you eat dinner, like you're supposed to eat, you know. So I was like, all right, like I even wrote it on my mirror. I had a schedule laid out. So it was 7 a.m., 10 o'clock, 1 p.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m., and then 9 p.m. And that was my 6 juices. Honey, day 1, juice 1, I almost gave up on site. I was like, nah, bro, I can't do this. Like, I was trying to be all strong. I pulled up to work. Everybody was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And I'm like, you know, I'm doing a juice cleanse. And then I started drinking, and I was like... So the first juice, the first day really, so the juices weren't bad. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. I'm just telling you my experience with the juice cleanse. The juices weren't bad, so to speak, but when you're used to being hyped up on sugar all the time, which I love sweets, so anything that I'm consuming, if it's not savory, it has to be sweet. Like there's no in between. Like you're not about to have me out here just drinking malt. Like who does that? So I'm used to a little sweet, a little, you know, and some of the juices were just like gingery. And you could taste the other ingredients, obviously, but I was just very confused. I felt like, why am I doing this? And surprisingly for me, one of the juices had beets as like, of course, the main ingredient, because when you put beets in anything, that's all you see is beets. So the beet juice is what I'm gonna call it. Actually wasn't bad, and I don't like beets. I just think there's something about them that tastes like, and please forgive me, like dirt almost. I cannot describe it to you, but my memory of eating beets was when my grandmother used to try to force me to eat them back in the day. Like she used to make salads and then she had the beets in it on the side, and she was like, no, ain't good for you, you know, typical Jamaican parents. And I couldn't rock with it. I was like, what are you trying to do to me here? Like, this is disgusting. So when I saw that one of the juices, well, 2 of them actually had beets in it as the ingredient, I was like, Lord, how are we gonna do this? Because the Lord knows. And then I tried it, and to my pleasant surprise, it was actually good. And I mean, when I say good, I mean like I wasn't gagging, I wasn't like trying to hold my nose to finish it, like none of that. First juice kind of took me out, but by the second one, I was like, oh, but that's not bad, you know? So by day 1, let me just say, so usually they'll say like by day 2 you might get, you know, the feelings of fogginess, lightheadedness, you might get headaches, because of course your body is really getting rid of all the extra things that you're putting in that your body doesn't need. So all the sugars, all the, just everything, all the toxins that are in from the processed foods that you eat, your body's getting rid of that. And because your body's so used to those things, of course, when your body's getting rid of it, you're gonna feel some effects. So I started feeling foggy after my break. So I think I took a break maybe around like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock thereabout. And by 4 or 5 o'clock, girl, I felt like I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, there's no way I'm gonna make it to 7 o'clock. And then I got excited for the last juice because I had banana. And I'm like, okay, like, we got a little sweet going on. Girl. When you're not used to having less sugar content, it takes you by surprise. Let me just say it that way. However, after day 1 and the feelings of fogginess and the lightheadedness and the headache, and I went to sleep and I was miserable. And not miserable, it was just the effects, all the effects of the day added to the juice cleanse, added to the fact that I was tired. I was just like, I just want to go to sleep. I'm not doing this. And that was that. By day 2, I felt a little empowered. I was like, all right, you know what, Ash, like, you're halfway through. We're gonna get through this. Like, this is popping. Day 2 at work was a very trying day for me. A very colorful, very trying day. And I'm gonna leave it at that. However, I adapted more to the juices, if that makes sense. So the feeling I had on day 1 when I had the first juice, I didn't have that on day 2. On day 2, I was able to like actually drink the juice and be like, huh, this isn't bad. So by the end of the night, I was like, you know what, you got this. Like, you only have 1 more day. Day 2 was done. Like, you survived. The day was rough, but so what? Because, you know, like, I felt accomplished. I felt like, okay, like, we're halfway through this, and, you know, like, you have nothing to lose. Yesterday, one of my coworkers told me on Thursday? Yesterday was Thursday. Wednesday? He was like, you're not gonna survive. You're not gonna survive because tomorrow you're gonna come in, you're gonna be cranky, you're gonna this and that and the third thing. And I was like, bro, don't try me. Don't try me. And so yesterday, I kind of felt like, at that point, I didn't feel like I was proving anything to myself because I felt like after day 2, I was like, all right, you got this in the bag. Like, you have nothing to worry about. So yesterday, I felt empowered because I knew, like, okay, like, you're already on a schedule, you stuck to your schedule, you didn't break, and crazily, I had no cravings. And I had read the reviews before and they say, oh, I didn't have cravings, and they did. And I'm like, that's BS. Day 1 almost took me out because they ordered pizza. Like, my manager ordered pizza for the unit. And one of my coworkers was eating, like, in the lounge, and honey, like, I had 1 whiff and I was like, oh my god. Bruh, almost took me out. But I had no cravings. I smelled it and I was like, okay, we acknowledge what's happening. And I was able to just move on. Like, all right, don't worry, because in 30 minutes you'll have another juice coming up. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't allow the external forces to affect me. So yesterday was honestly like smooth. As much as it was busy and there was a lot going on, and you know, it was very smooth. I didn't feel like I was trying to force the juices. I didn't feel like I was overthinking it. I popped my straw in, and before you know, the juice was done. I was like, huh, okay. Threw it in the garbage, went on about my business. So I would say for me, the experience overall was enlightening. The closest I've come to doing any kind of cleanse or any fast or anything like that, I did a Daniel fast in January 2020. And it was very insightful in that, you know how when you're used to something, you're used to that thing every day, and then you don't have it, so you feel like, oh my god, I'm gonna crash and burn, I'm gonna die, and I can't do this. It wasn't like that. I felt like, okay, like, I can do without meat for a couple days, you know. And the only time last year that I almost crashed is when I didn't meal prep. It's when I wasn't strategic in how I went about it. So all the other days I made sure I meal prepped. Like, I had to make sure I had lunch. And when I was home, obviously I was home, so I didn't have a problem. But especially when I'm going to work, I had to make sure that I was being strategic, because if I wasn't, I would have caved and given into all the other temptations that were happening. So same here. Like, the night before, I knew I was going to work Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I made sure all my juices were in a bag already in the fridge. I don't want to get up and have to scramble like, oh my God, I'm about to be late. Like, I can't do this, and run out the door, because that would be me making an excuse. And I knew that if I allowed myself to get to that point of scrambling and trying to get it together the morning of, one, if I'm late for work, that's already a problem. Two, I leave the juices. That would mean that, okay, now I'm gonna have to substitute. How am I gonna substitute? Because these juices are already pre-made with, like, ready-made ingredient. Well, not ready-made, you get the point. But it's set up as a system. So had I not been prepared and said, okay, Ash, like, you need to be intentional about how you go about this, would have crapped out. Added to the fact that the juices, they say have a shelf life of 4 days. But how do you go from day one finishing semi-strong to day 2 now crapping out because you didn't prepare, right? I hope y'all know that this applies to everything in your life, not just the juice cleanse, because you feel like I'm talking about the juices, but I'm really not. And so, like, what ended up happening was, before I even did the cleanse, I bought the juices and everything, and I had conditioned my mind, like, this is gonna happen tomorrow. You need to stay strong. You need to be intentional about how you go about this. And I prayed about it. Like, when I went to bed on Monday night, I prayed, and I basically asked God, like, hey, we know that this is not my forte. I cannot do this alone. I will be tempted, and I need willpower more than anything else. And this goes for everything else in your life. How many times do we, have a thing, whatever it is, coming up, and we go about it alone, and we don't think to say, hey, Lord, it's me again. I'm gonna need some help. Like, we just up and popping, and it's just like, all right, I'm about to do this. And then we go in head first. We don't seek advice. We don't seek help. And then before you know it, we're crapping out, because it's like, well, damn, I thought I could do this, and now, it's too much, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm this and I'm that. And God is just sitting there like, well, Brody, I was here the whole time, and you didn't ask me for help. So, right? Like, Monday, Tuesday, the first day I went back to work, I could have caved. I could have had a slice of pizza, but I didn't. I could have had juice in the fridge, but I didn't. The most I did, and I'll be honest, I did get cashews. I told you about the cashews, but I did go to Walgreens. I got cashews because I noticed, like, once or twice in between some of the juices, I noticed myself getting a little like, whew, hold on, buddy. You know what I mean? And when I'm at work, you got stuff going on left, right, and center. Like, there's no downtime. So I had to make sure I had something to, like, kind of sustain me, like a handful in between, and you're good to go. One other thing I will say, like, a lot of people ask me, how are you doing this while at work? And my response was, it helped me because it kept me on track. So when I wrote the times down on my mirror, and I wrote out, like, how many time slots, like, what are the time slots? When do I need to drink these juices? I already knew, okay, you work from 7 to 7:30. There should be no problem. Like, you get to work, you take 5 minutes to drink your juice, and right after you give a report, you take 5 minutes before you get into your car. What's the issue? Right? Of course, with everything else going on at work, obviously, like, patient assessments, I have to do this, I have to whatever. But it takes being intentional. So I set alarms on my phone. So I know that if my alarm is going off at 10 o'clock and I'm in a patient's room at 10:05, okay, well, you got 15 minutes to get this up and going, because that's what you set out to do. So it's not like I'm over here trying to stuff 3 juices down in an hour. You have to be intentional. So as I said, it was enlightening. I do feel, what's the word? Lighter. I did pee a lot, like I've never peed in life. The beats are showing themselves. But I do feel light. I feel like my system is cleared, you know what I mean? And initially I was like, bruh, this is I'm not sure this is what it was supposed to do, but then it did its job. I'm gonna just leave it at that. So, you know, I will say overall my experience with the juice cleanse was a positive one. I didn't cave, thank God. Willpower is on fleek. It was only 3 days, but that's not the point. It's still something. And just overall, I think, as I said on Monday, sometimes your body just needs a reset. Sometimes your body needs to just flush out. You know, like, it's a new year. Everybody's like, new year, new me, but your gut is like, right? I just think for me, it was time to just reset. I needed to just like, yeah, girl, it's time. So overall, it was a great experience. I would do it again in like 6 months. So willpower on fleek, as I said before, and you know, you should try it. If you have done one, let me know down in the comments below how it made you feel, what struggles you had, if you would do it again, if you find that it was beneficial. Oh, and let me say this, I know it's just water weight, but 5 pounds done came off. The belly is looking cute. She's a little, yeah, you know, the birthday is next week, so I'm a little excited. Anyway, let me stop being a bird. Thank you guys for watching this video. Again, please subscribe, turn your notifications on. Every Friday we do this, the wind down, at 4 p.m. Every Monday we pop up with new fresh content from the blog at 7 a.m. with an accompanying video. Please go to the blog, subscribe at ownyourauthenticity.com. Send me a message, write me a testimonial, whatever it is. Hook up with your girl, let me know how you feel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.